Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Phil, and I'm with my co-host, Samantha.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
We got Green Day for the first time on the channel today, which is exciting. We're always excited when we do a new group.
Yeah, it's our first time doing them, and I think I'm a little bit more familiar with Green Day's stuff than you are, correct?
Yeah, so with Green Day, with me, I think I know their earlier stuff more. They came out, I think, in 1986, right? That's when their band,
their group,
first came to be. And I believe they have some stuff that's popular from the 90s that I am aware of. But I think that they also have really popular stuff like this, American Idiot, which is from 2004, which I'm much less aware of.
Yeah, so I think I know like most of the not early stuff, but like mid to late 90s, because I think that was still somewhat popular into the 2000s. I think I got into them in the early 2000s when I was still like in like elementary school. But you know, when you like a group and then you go back and listen to some of their older stuff too, I think that's why I was more familiar with the older stuff, even though I was like un petite when that came out.
Yeah, well, I think also like there's a little bit of an age difference between us, so that might be why there's some familiarity with certain parts of their catalog versus others. And so I don't think I'm going to recognize this song in particular, but you believe you know this song, right?
Yeah, I definitely know the song. I don't know it like in its entirety to know all the lyrics, or I've never really like broken it down and like revisited it from like a musical standpoint.
But you'll know it when you hear it.
Yes, 100%.
I don't think that's going to be the case for me. I think my catalog with Green Day, like I said, it's very limited to some of their more popular songs. I know this is really popular, but like I said, coming out in 2004, I was at that point where I was really, into a subset of a genre in hip hop, full on through and through at that point, and not listening to much else.
Yeah, at that point, I was having a little punk rock, like alternative phase. So
I had that a little bit earlier, I think, for me. So apparently we all had punk rock alternative phases. Let us know if you did as well in those comments. We always appreciate your insights, guys. Let us know if there's anything else you want us to react to from Green Day, and maybe we can put that on the channel. But let's start with American Idiot today. You ready to get things going?
Let's do it.
Let's roll. All right, we'll pause it there. We'll wind it before we get into any of that solo. And so clearly a really catchy melody, right, on the riff that they have that is going to stick in your head all day.
It's like very quick.
Yeah, it's interesting how from this aspect, from the punk rock genre, the way they were, well, I mean, I can't say I'm an expert on the genre, but the way they were able to do this song in particular was creating a melody that was catchy, not so much the lyrics or the way they're singing. Of course, the way they play off of it is interesting and it's going to stick out. But to me, I could picture this song getting stuck in my head after listening to it on the radio from that melody portion, the riff.
Yeah, it like really stands out. It's like unique. Like you know that that's that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it definitely does have like that very distinct punk rock sound.
Of course, but it's a pop sound to me.
Yeah. I think that's why I mean, from what I understand, it was very popular, like on the radio and on MTV and whatever,
Yep.
because it is like it's almost like a standout kind of single vibe, right?
Of course, yeah.
Opposed to some of their other stuff, I feel like isn't as much like that.
Okay. So you would say this is a poppier version of one of their mainstream songs?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all of their stuff is kind of crossover of punk with like more of the popular, like not pop in terms of like Britney Spears kind of pop, but just more of like mainstream rock / alternative, I'd say.
Yeah. So I mean, when I'm saying that, I think I'm referring to this is kind of lighter in some respect. Like obviously, it's got this counterculture movement in the lyrics to it, but the sound of it. Unless you were listening to the lyrics pretty deeply, you wouldn't feel that way from listening to it. It was kind of like a lighter feel, whereas some other, I feel like popular punk rock songs that I do remember, which is, a small amount, are a little bit darker undertones in some sense, especially...
Yeah, some of them.
I don't know, I guess it's debatable on that front, but this really sounds like, to me, it's this lighter, it's not heavy at all. It's much more on the pop end versus on like a hard rock sound.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard rock in my opinion. But I feel like if you think of the times, right? Like I feel like a lot of those bands, like if you think of like Sum 41, Blink-182, Panic at the Disco, like all of those kind of groupings of bands, Good Charlotte, right? They're all kind of like in that era, and they all kind of sound like that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And I'm really not familiar with punk rock as a genre as a whole. I got a lot to learn in that department. So maybe this is just the sound that they captured and put it to the mainstream in the right way with punk rock, and that's the way it generally sounded at the time.
That's what I would say. But I mean, I guess this definitely is very, like, in my opinion at least, like I think they're known for having more of a political stance in their songs, but to me that's what this is all about, right?
Well, let's run it back a bit. We'll play it and then we'll touch on the lyrics when we come to the end.
Cool. Lots of green paint going on there.
Yeah, well, maybe we were reading that this apparently caused some controversy, this song, American Idiot. So I'm wondering if the video played into that as well, because they put green all over the flag, right? And now we see the flag has been whitewashed to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So, if anybody that has a passion for the flag or feels like that's disrespectful is going to have an issue with that.
Not like that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that played into it or not. You guys can let us know in the comments because we have no idea. We weren't paying attention to things back then. So anyways, you were getting into discussing the lyrics a little bit. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on?
Oh, I just feel like there's definitely political affiliation there, right? With like, well, not political, but like political ideology, like talking about the news media and like basically, conflating being an American idiot to being controlled by the media and just going along these ideologies that you're being fed through the TV. Like they said, they talked about the TV and stuff in there, right? And being kind of like in this new age of like the information age, but the information is what people want you, like what they're telling you.
I wouldn't say all that stuff is politically charged though, right? I would say that's
more like anti-establishment, I
guess.
Yeah.
So the thing that I would say was politically charged charged in some extent. You could probably paint it that way, was the redneck
Yes.
lyrics that they
True.
put in there. And I think around this time period, there was a lot of pushback, you know, against conservatives and stuff like that, and, you know, in the progressive movement, and that tends to creep into some music sometimes. I feel like it was getting more popular to do so as well, maybe around 2004. So I'm wondering if that played a role as well. American Idiot. So the song title, like, who are they referring to as the American Idiot, right? My take on the lyrics is that everybody's an idiot because they're getting fed information and they don't know how to decipher the information, and that's what's causing all the hysteria, and that works to the media's advantage, and that's kind of what he was discussing. You know, I don't know if this genre would have identified with one side of the political spectrum more so than the other, left or right.
I have no idea.
Like, we know that, you know, you could say probably conservatives are going to listen to more country music more often, right? And then, you know, politically wise, Democrats have tended to have a stronger black vote, so you could assume that hip hop would. So I don't know where punk rock would have fell on the spectrum. I would guess it would be more on the left leaning at this time in particular, but I can't say for sure. But I think it's interesting that those lyrics are really representative of today.
Yeah,
right.
With like the news media and stuff like that.
Well, it's the same thing. What he said is like all this information that we have access to now, because the internet was becoming of age at that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So now we're getting access to all this information, and it's causing all this hysteria because people are like getting access, I think, to more information.
They don't know what's true, what's not, what to believe, what not to believe.
Well, I don't know if that would today. I would say that's representative.
That's what I'm saying today.
Right. But I don't know if people would have realized that back then.
No, definitely
It would have just been, we have more access to the information. We think we know what we're reading into.
I think back then everybody thought what they saw was true, or it wouldn't be put on the internet, or wouldn't be put out there.
Right. So I think he's kind of alluding to, now we have access to this information and we're able to decipher it better. And, you know, not get the, you know, wool pulled over our eyes, so to speak, because we have more access to information. When in reality, we look back now and we were probably being presented information in a specific way so that it, you know, led us to conclude certain things.
You know, he did say in there too, though, like he mentioned propaganda, and he also mentioned subliminal messages, right? So I think like he is saying to some degree, like the control is there, right? Even though like there is more information, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good information.
What I'm saying is that the realization that there is propaganda at this time, but not realizing what it actually is.
Yeah, fair, true.
So, you know, you think that you know, but you're
don't.
actually being sold the story of more propaganda.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have, like, it's like the, you know, the twist on the twist type thing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh crap, man, they've been pulling the wool over my eyes, even with that stuff too, right? So I think maybe that's what. Anyways, song wise, it was cool. I mean, I had a great rhythm to it, I had a great groove to it. Obviously, the melody, like we said, really stuck out. You know, I think his voice is good for, the vocals good for distributing the kind of lyrics that they want to talk about, because it's not heavy and it's still melodic enough that it sits in with the song really well, but it stands out in that you're still listening to the lyrics. So I think it's a good combination, probably why Green Day was so well known. And
I feel like it's a very good vocal for this genre.
Yeah, I think, you know, we'll probably have to do more Green Day, and you guys can recommend where we want to go, where you want us to go. But I think if you get into their catalog more, you might see that they just did a really great job at transitioning their style of music to the mainstream, and it fits so well because it was so melodic and it was digestible. Whereas it was probably less heavy than some of the stuff that came before it.
Fair.
Right. And so that's why people were able to listen to it and listen to it pleasantly. That's what I was saying about this song. It's like, it's got this poppy, like, light feeling to it, but the lyrics are much heavier. So when you can combine those things, you can go radio friendly a little bit more. For sure. Because it's not like this super dark, like, heavier sound on, like, they're not going to play that on the radio. Exactly. Any closing thoughts you want to add?
No, I thought it was cool to revisit it. Like I said, for me, I have definitely heard this before, but I have never really, like, I definitely haven't heard it in the last decade. So that's for sure. So it's been kind of cool to go back and, like, reevaluate it a little bit.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it. So this was new for me. So hopefully you guys liked our reaction. If you did, you know what to do. What do they got to do?
Hit the thumbs up button.
And they got to
subscribe.
And they have to
hit the notification bell, because we post 2 videos a day and you don't want to miss one.
That's right. So if you subscribe, we'll see you tomorrow when we drop 2 more videos.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you then.